Hi guys, so in this video we're going to look at the credibility of this video that we saw in the first couple of weeks of the course. And we're going to specifically examine the credibility of Dr. Ramani Durvasula, who has a PhD, is a psychologist, author, and professor of psychology. I've chosen her specifically because she's the one who gives the information in the video about narcissism, psychopathy, and sociopathy. We could have chosen MedCircle by itself, and I'll explain to you in a moment why I favored Dr. Durvasula over MedCircle. Now, to get more out of this video, I recommend that you first have visited the evaluating information section of our website. If you do that, you're going to get a little introduction over here, and then these three links. The last one is not as relevant for us right now, but these two here, the CRAP test and author credentials, are. Author credentials, if you click on that, you're going to see particularly this section here, which will be relevant to our analysis about the author's background. Those are all critical factors for determining whether someone can be trusted or not. The other page over here goes a little bit wider and talks not just about the authority of the author, but also relevance, currency, which means how recent the information is, accuracy of the information, and the purpose of the video itself. When we look at an author's authority, we're essentially making a judgment about whether the author and or publisher has enough expertise on the subject to be trusted. So let's take a look at our publisher and author. So Dr. Durvasula, although she's an author, she's not the author of this video. That's this big M over here, which is MedCircle. They're the ones who both published the video through their channel on YouTube, and they are also the ones who created the video. So it would be smart to start by checking MedCircle first. If they are a place of great reputation, then it wouldn't really matter what the background is of the person who's providing the information. We would be able to trust that person based on MedCircle's reputation. That's kind of like when you trust an article in Le Devoir because Le Devoir has a good reputation in Quebec for providing accurate information, especially information that is news rather than analysis. So when we do a search for MedCircle through Google, we're going to find medcircle.com. That's in one of our results. And when I go to the page for MedCircle, what I always look for is the About. So I go across the menu at the top, and I see the About over here. And I noticed in passing also our doctors. And so that little drop-down list shows us that they have a whole bunch of experts involved in their content. And so that's a good sign. Now the About page, when we take a look at that, we see their goal is to help people, us, you, understand mental health. And the question that arises then when you get onto a site like this is, okay, that's their goal. Everyone always says they have a nice, laudable goal. But who are the people who created this site? Are they themselves experts who would want to ensure that their reputation is improved by the quality of their site? And when I look at this, what I don't see in this section or in this section is anybody with a medical background or a background in psychology or psychiatry. So it's not through these people that we're going to get credibility for the site. The other element is that when I search a little bit on the site, I come across live classes, and then I become a member. And when I do that, I find out that there is a profit motive on the site. It's not purely to provide information. They also are hoping to get subscribers. And anytime there's a profit member on a site, it does not mean automatically that the site should not be trusted, but it does mean we should be a little bit more careful because when there's a motive for profit. Sometimes there's a motive to modify content to make it more attractive to people who are going to pay for whatever the site is offering. So having then chosen to check out Dr. Ramani's background as a person who gives the information in the video, I came across her own website. So this is a website where she is presenting herself. And we have an About link up here also. So I go to that, about Dr. Ramani. I see that she has peer-reviewed articles. That's a good sign. That means that she has written articles in journals, which are special research magazines, if you will. And peer-reviewed means that other experts reviewed the content of the articles before it was published and presumably approved of it. She's also received federally funded grants, so that's a respectable thing too. Grants are money provided to do research. She's been in the press, so she's been in newspapers in English and in other languages we see. And so those are all good things. And if we click on the About Dr. Ramani page, what do we get? Well, we get a lot of photos, so she's not shy to show herself online, and we also see that she likes a cat. Probably that's her cat. And when I scroll down here, I have text. I'd have to read through this, find out about what she is highlighting about her background. And after doing that, I also find these very helpful tabs over here, where we actually get her educational history, honors and awards, professional positions, and her grants and affiliations. So who else is she associated with? Educational background, I've got over here that she's got a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, a Master's in Psychology, a PhD in Clinical Psychology, and a minor in Health Psychology, and then a pre-doctoral internship in at the Resnick Neuropsychiatric Hospital, and she's also she has a license from the state of California to be a psychologist. She has a variety of awards over here, including from the University of California, California State University. She has Outstanding Professor Award. You read through the list, and you would see that, well, okay, this woman's been given awards, so no doubt she has had a good reputation. Professional positions, what do we have? A variety of things over here that, when you read through them, look like good titles to have. Grants that she has received to do research, and who else is she associated with? With the American Psychological Association, which is the main association for psychologists in the United States, the Western Psychological Association, the Association for Psychological Science, and the Society for Behavioral Medicine. So this is a woman who has a very strong professional background, and the good thing about that is, one, she knows likely what she's talking about, but people trust her within her field too. And so if she's trusted, she has a reputation now that she wants to protect. You don't want to risk getting a bad reputation from giving bad information in a video on YouTube. When we're talking about reputation, we're really talking about whether a person has awards, which we saw she does have, appearances in reputable media. That means that she is someone who's going to be trusted because of where other places that have reputations having trusted her. So if I go back to her website, I would see that she has done appearances on reputable media. I'll take a look at that. So on her website, we see that she has done stuff with the American Psychological Association, which Today and TEDx and Bravo. If I go back to the first page over here, they've got also CNN, and you can just scroll along and you'll just find more and more places where she has done stuff. Some having sometimes reputations for bias, but not always. Chicago Tribune, and so on and so forth. So she's been Forbes, Huffington Post, New York Times, has a good reputation. So she's someone who is trusted by many sources that themselves have pretty good reputations. Reputation also involves bias, right? Être biaisé, where you're trying to push a certain perspective on things. So does she demonstrate any prejudice, partiality, favoritism, one-sidedness, sexism, racism, etc., all that kind of stuff? And we'll have to do a little bit of a search to find out if that's the case. Reputation also has to do with accuracy, whether a person has a reputation for giving accurate information, right? And what their purpose is. Do they really try to inform? Are they trying to entertain? Are they trying to persuade to a certain perspective? I think in the video we see she's basically informing. The next thing to do is you Google a person's name and you add the word reputation to your search, as I did over here, Ramani Durvasula reputation. And then you just scroll down the page, look at the hits, see if there's anything that sort of jumps out at you as people questioning her reputation. There's only 1 star over here of 2 reviews. I don't know what this is, healthgrades.com. Doesn't mean much, right, when you get 1 review or 2 reviews. Nothing over here, when I read all these different links, jumps out as being people claiming that she's not someone with a good reputation. You can contrast that to what happens when you do searches for Dr. Joseph Mercola, who is a very successful online doctor. If you check his website, you'll see that he pushes or offers lots of special dietary supplements. So there's a money incentive on his website. And you see articles like this, ordered to stop illegal claims, major funder of the anti-vaccine movement, which is considered a dubious movement by many experts, and questioned by Chicago Magazine, is he a visionary or is he a quack? 9 reasons to completely ignore Joseph Mercola. So right away you see, and here, the most honest man in medicine, here you see that there are definitely questions, at least some people have serious questions about whether or not Dr. Joseph Mercola can be trusted. So he's someone whose reputation is not without some question marks around it. So having done that search on Dr. Ramani, I then can put that information together in a Word document. And the yellow part is my analysis. So we see that she gives all the information in the video. So she is the person whose credibility is most important. So I'm justifying why I chose her. Next, I'm saying that she has a high level of education in psychology. And I support that with the information I got from her website. I say that she's won awards, which gives us more reason to trust her. Put the awards over here. And then I mentioned that I didn't find anything bad about her reputation. And finally, I summarize saying, for all of the reasons above, I trust the information from this video. So there you go. That's what you should do for an analysis of your sources. And I'll just add one more thing. In this case, we were able to do our analysis by checking out Dr. Ramani, but sometimes you won't necessarily have enough of background information to judge credibility based on the publisher or the author or the person giving the information. You need to look instead at another element, which is the accuracy over here, which can be justified based on your own knowledge of the accuracy of the information. For example, in the case where you're finding a video where someone presents information that you've also seen in your classes, which comes from reputable sources, your teachers. In that case, if the information is the same, you could use that as a reason, a justification for trusting your video source or your article source. Finally, make sure that you do check currency. So how recent is the information? In the case of psychology, you would be concerned about maybe lots of advances in the field. And since this particular document is from 2018, the video, that's recent enough for us to assume that if there have been any big breakthroughs in research on narcissism, psychopathy, and sociopathy, that information would likely be presented by Dr. Durvasula. So the last thing I would just mention to all of you is that when you do your analysis of your source's credibility, you don't have to, go all out and find every piece of information that justifies the credibility of your source. The main thing is to find at least something that very strongly supports your feeling that your source can be trusted. There you go.